Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. And welcome to another exciting episode of the Justine Podcast. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about illusion. This episode was originally going to be time and illusion, but then I realized I already did an episode on time. So I kind of don't want to talk about time again. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, I do, but so it might just be a small piece of this episode. But we'll see how it goes. Y'all know, one take scene, I go off the top of the head. You feel me? Like I'm the rawest rapper since '09. But nah, um, I really we'll see where we're gonna go with this. But anywho, when we consider illusion, and the reason why I wanted to start out, I was gonna use time because I hear people like that's one of the biggest illusions. It gets on my nerves. I mean, I hear it and I get it, but it's like shut up sometimes because they're like, time is an illusion. It's a man-made construct. It's this, that, and the third. I've noticed that a lot of people they call shit man-made constructs when they don't want to do the critical thought or the critical analysis to understand it. Right. So they pretty much can just say and do whatever they want about it because they can say and do whatever they want about it. Right. Which is weird. You feel me? But then it does tie into illusion. So when we consider illusion, right, a lot of people think illusion is a lie. Illusion, we know that it's deception, but illusions are deeper. Like, ask yourself what an illusion really is. You know what I mean? And, Webster's dictionary is a nice definition, but for the context of what we're talking about today, illusion will be defined as manipulation of understanding, right? This is one of the reasons why illusions hit so hard. This is one of the reasons why illusions are what they are. So we're going to talk a little bit about magic, like sleights of hand, but we're going to talk about real illusions too, right? Not the bullshit that you can see, but I'm using that aspect to segue to understanding, right? When we consider um when we consider illusion, right? First thing we want to do is consider that we've been tricked, we've been duped. You feel me? We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, right? Because illusion has that power, right? If we understand our Aritu or our chakras, however you pronounce it, um, even if you're reading Soul 3, the brow chakra is blocked by illusion. So when I tell people like, yo, to clear your brow chakra, you gotta overcome illusion. And they're like, what do you mean? I just gotta see through shit, I gotta see through the veil. It's like, yeah, of course, but it's deeper than that. Overcoming an illusion is being able to overcome the things that are manipulating your understanding, which means it goes into further solidifying your understanding of a thing. You feel me? When I think about mastering the market, this is a shameless plug, but when I think about mastering the market and flavored inflation community, right, there's no illusion. I show people how to get through the illusion by showing them how to play the game for real. Right. I can tell you all day long that this is doable. I can tell you all day long that all you got to do is this and do that and the third or whatever the case may be. Or I can show you and let you see the understanding in real time and let you figure out how to manipulate it rather than letting it manipulate you. And on a bigger scale, this is what we deal with as a people as a whole. We deal with the fact that we're all in an illusion. Like when people tell you, oh, this world is an illusion, we're in a matrix, blah, blah, blah. They're real, they're right. But can they tell you why? You feel me? A lot of people are like, oh, this whole world is fake. All this is an illusion. It is an illusion contextually, right? The future is not predicted. The future is created. And the future is being created in our realities right now while being under the illusion that the future just happens. You have people right now in this world, you and I, not you and I per se, but I mean, we have people in this world right now that are in arm's length with us for the most part who can't see through illusion and understand what an illusion is. They'll swear all day long, I can't be manipulated. I can't be this. They can spot certain shit, but they can't overcome an illusion because that's what we're living in. We're continually living in an illusion. An illusion, like I said, is when you misunderstand. No. You manipulate understanding. When you can manipulate the understanding of something, you create the illusion that needs to keep it where it needs to stay. You feel what I'm saying? Overcoming illusion is very powerful. It's very easy, but it's very difficult to do at the same time because a lot of people's ego is so heavy involved that they don't think that they can succumb to an illusion while being placed in the middle of illusions right now. You feel what I'm saying? Because they do not understand. And because they don't understand, their under their personal understanding is able to be manipulated. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at underscore just underscore seen underscore. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And you know the vibes. That's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into illusion, the manipulation of understanding.
And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com.
All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're gonna get started. So, as I was saying, let's go ahead and keep the definition. Let's revisit the definition of what we're going to be talking about and what direction we're going to be going with this episode. Illusion will be defined as the manipulation of understanding, right? So when we know understanding is the highest level of the mind, for the level of the mind, right? Illusion is when illusion is powerful enough to bypass all that shit, right? Belief is the first level. Illusion don't even fuck with lies. Fuck with belief and trust. Lies fuck with belief. Illusion fucks with understanding. Illusion is so much more powerful than a lie because an illusion can be true. That's where we transition into a new space, right? At the space of illusion. This is why I talk about within, my sessions and even within So For Real 3, when I talk about the chakras and breaking them down. When you're breaking and you're opening and you're unblocking your third eye chakra, your fourth chakra, you have to overcome illusion. Only way to overcome illusion is to reach the level of understanding and then understand relativity, right? Illusion works because truth is relative to the experiencer, right? When you reach the level of understanding, you have the choice to accept or reject. We know that part, right? But even in that, understanding is the absolute component of the mind. That is the final point where the mind is bridged to the soul and the body, right? That is when all of the rungs of the little thing are complete. Everything is what it needs to be, right? When our understanding is manipulated, it's because of relativity, right? Not to the truth, not to anything. And this is one of the reasons why when I talk, especially about starting the tree of life and going through the full path and all this other good shit, that I started off by explaining that you have to be able to face antitheses. Your mind will never work fully unless you learn how to face an antithesis of a thing, the exact and equal opposite of it, to understand it, because the truth sits in between those things where those two things coincide. With illusion, it's a little bit different. And I know it's like, well, you just said lies and then truth and shit like that. It's like, yeah, because there's a difference between a lie and a relative truth. The belief level of the mind is where a lie will function, right? But for the illusory side, the illusion side, it's where the truth is relative. So the whole situation could be right, but it's relative to the experiencer and how they're experiencing it. So now, if I trust your experience more than you trust my experience, or if I trust your experience more than I trust my own experience, I'm succumbing myself to a potential illusion that's coming over me, right? Because illusion is when you manipulate understanding, which now, like I said, ties into a relative truth. So when I say that illusion can be true, this is one of the hardest reasons why it's hard to see through an illusion, because of illusion can be true. I'm gonna save it for the end to see what our biggest illusion is as people, but y'all already kind of know which way I'm gonna go with that shit. But I'm gonna hold out for that because we do have other illusions that we succumb to when we're in relationships. People ask us like, why is it that we can? This is one of the things that I like to talk about. I like to talk about titles versus tribes, like title versus tribal. Title is, your successes and things of that nature, or, relationship statuses like titles, mother, father, brother, sister, doctor, lawyer, physician. Like these are all titles. Tribal still has those same attachments. However, tribal is just a little bit different because it's not a matter of hierarchy. It's not a matter of ego. It's a matter of eco. You hear me say that a lot. It's not the ecosystem. It's the ecosystem because everything has to work together. Right. So, in regards to us speaking about illusion, you feel what I'm saying? In regards to us speaking about illusion, we have to realize that there are our illusions come from our associations with titles. Right. This is why if you ever seen a relationship or you ever been in a relationship where the illusion was like they did you dirty or they did you wrong or they did you some foul shit. And it's like, I can't see beyond this person. My understanding has been manipulated because we'll say shit to ourselves like they would never do this. This person would never do this to me. This person is like, or is it relative? Is it the version of this person that what won't hurt you? Is the version of this person won't damage you? And that's what psychologically fucks a lot of people up because the illusion is shattered. Shattering an illusion means you expose the understanding that you did not have. The difference between understanding and belief is like once you understand something, there's no going back to it. There's no I made a mistake or this, that, and the third. It's like, nah, like when I talk about religion, and how people see me through religion. They're like, yo, you'll come back one day. Y'all don't understand what I understand. Our understandings are different, right? So because our understandings are different, there's no way that my understanding would allow me to go back. Even if I just felt a change of heart so bad and saying, you know what, I was wrong. Lord, take me back. I'm covered in the blood or whatever the case may be. I can't go back. There's no way that I can possibly go back with what I've learned unless the Ben and Black hit me with that little red thing and then say, yeah, you were devout, whatever, and then I can go back to that. But I can't erase what I've understood. You can always forget what you've learned, but you can never erase what you understood. Always keep that in mind. What you understand stands the test of time. And this is one of the reasons why time was going to originally be included in it, but I'm just going to keep it in a small pocket. When we look at time, right? Time is an illusion because the understanding of time is manipulated. When we look at time, people are like, oh, we're talking about calendars. This is a man-made social construct. Man created the quantification of time. They did not create time. Time always existed. Here's where when man put something to time, man made time a when. Time has always been aware. Time is a location. These are two concepts that really came to me heavily. Well, it's really one concept, but it came to me in multiple ways. The first way in which it came to me about time being about the illusion of time is about its location rather than its actual time is when I consider day trading and investing. We when I look at the EWE, when I look at the Master in the Market course, when I look at my students and I look at like we transcend time, we don't worry about when something's going to happen. We pay attention to where. But we're doing it on time frames, right? And so it's like, how can you validate that time isn't about when, but it's about where? Well, first point we have to consider is what the name of time is. We have Mother Nature and we have Father Time. Those are the only two components. Well, not only two, but those are two big components of creation, right? Mother Nature and Father Time. And there's two allusions to those because it's like, do we really understand what it is? Because when we say Mother Nature, we think about the earth, right? That's the physical representation of it. But are we speaking of nature as far as earth or nature as far as essence, right? How do you develop your essence, right? Because now, like I said, when we look at time and we look at the illusion of what time is, we have to ask ourselves, is time about when or is time about where? See, we never remember when something happened. We put the time on it, but it's not the time that we remember. It's the specific events that occurred at this location. So time, you hear people say all the time, location, location, location. Time, the illusion of time is not that time is quantified or counted, but that time is about location and not time itself. Like when we look at time, we think about clocks, we think about minutes, seconds. Those are important pieces, but they still only denote location. Where were you when this happened? Because what you remember is where you were. You don't remember the exact time. You remember the events in that time. Right. And I know it's going to seem hard to keep up a little bit because I have to keep using time because it's the only word I know because of the illusion that we have been caught into. So when we're looking at time itself and we're putting this into the perspective of time being about where as opposed to when you think about sit and think about things that you remember the most. You don't remember the time, you remember every detail about the location, the events that happened, where you were, what you were wearing, what you were smelling, what was in the air. Like you don't remember that this was 2:53 p.m. on a Saturday on this. Some people do because the experience did hit that hard. But that's when we transition it out of uh transition it from the illusion, which is the misunderstanding, right? Of the misunderstanding of the illusion is the manipulation of understanding. I don't know why I kept wanting to say misunderstanding, but it's the manipulation of understanding, right? So when we look at the illusion of time and the manipulation of it is that it's about where instead of when. This is when I can explain how time is relative. Time isn't about like the truth of time, the truth of illusion. Illusion can be the truth. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lie. It's a relative truth. That's what illusion is about. We transcended lies a long time ago. Lies are down at the belief. Lies are down at the belief level of the mind. Right now, for this particular one, we're sitting at the understanding level of the mind. So lies don't. We have already mastered that. But illusion is still problematic. This is why the third eye is blocked. This is why it blocks the third eye. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's illusion being the misunderstanding. The manipulation of understanding. I don't know why I keep wanting to say misunderstanding. I don't know, but it's the manipulation of understanding. Okay, so as we're looking at time being about where, right? This now allows us to understand how a ritual really works because you're using the time to denote a location. Even when we're looking at topography, like looking at a topography map, not even that. This is how it's going to really solidify that it's about time is about location. Think about longitude and latitudinal lines, the plots and the coordinates that you have to get to, right? After you put the coordinates, the X and the Y, what does it break down to? Hours, minutes, and seconds. When we're looking at a location of something, it's broken down in its finest point. After X and Y axis is broken down into hours, minutes, seconds, and ticks. The location is broken down to hours, minutes, seconds, and ticks. This is a different level of understanding now that we're going into because it's like we are now applying one concept to another. So with time, we denote it as only hours, minutes, and seconds, but we move the location of it altogether. This is why your natal chart works. You hear people, oh, what time were you born? To solidify your location in space, your location in the universe. Right. Time is about your location. And like this is why you have the time space continuum. When is this location solidified? There's nothing in space, but there's everything in space. Time is when space has been recorded. or the location of space has been recorded, right? And it goes into a X, Y, and a Z coordinate. Most bases, it finds your plane in your like your X, Y, Z in your plane, and then it breaks down to the hours, minutes, and seconds. We think time is just hours, minutes, and seconds. No, time is X, Y, Z hours, minutes, and seconds. It's coordinate planes. Like we learned about this in math, but as we're learning about it in math, we're not learning that this is time. So now you can go on to have people saying time is an illusion. It is a social construct. Why? Any claim you make in this world, you should be able to have a why. Now, when it comes to illusions, people can't answer why because illusions fuck with your understanding. They manipulate your understanding. So to manipulate understanding, you have to have the truth, right? You have to have the truth in it, but you have to have a relative truth. So when I can tell you that hours, minutes, and seconds, people associate those only to clocks. They don't associate those to maps. They don't associate those to latitude and longitudinal lines, which are denotions of location. Very powerful. Because now, when we think about how much time we waste, right? No, it's how long you experienced something at a specific location. That's what time really is. You dig what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why in that this is how you know the location is more prevalent than anything, because when you consider the things that you reminisce about, the things that are in your mind the most, it could be any age. You can be when you were 5, you could be when you were 10, 20. It doesn't matter. There's things that you could remember from 10, 20, 30 years ago, like yesterday. But there's things that you have done yesterday that you forgot about already today. Because there was no significant event that linked you to that location. You ever paid attention to when they do the yearly, September 11th, never forget, all of this other shit when they do that? What is the one thing that they always ask you? Where were you when this happened? Your where is automatically going to put you in the relative space of time. For example, when I look at it as I was in my second period class, it was math. They told us to turn on the TV, right? We turned on the TV. It was this math teacher named Miss Hyde. Miss Hyde, I remember her because she had melanoma. She had a black melanoma mark on her arm, and I thought it was just a mole, and I didn't know black people get them. And now we're watching, and as she's turning the TV on, I'm looking at her mole as people are falling down from the screen, jumping out. I don't remember the time. I do remember it was second period. I do remember the events that occurred. Now I could probably narrow it down to about 9-ish in the morning, based off of the locations that I knew that I was, right? So that's how the illusion of time works. That's how the illusion of time works. It allows you to have a manipulation of the understanding that you have. So my understanding of 9/11, September 11th is different than somebody else's understanding because of the experience that I had in the code. Like when motherfuckers just jumping out of buildings, I was like, oh, that's so sad. I'm like, what's going on? I didn't even know what the World Trade Center was until that day. As a kid, 11 years old, I had no reason to know what the World Trade Center was, but I didn't know what the World Trade Center was at the time. I can't forget about what the shit is now, especially as a trader and investor, but it's different. It's different. So now, when we understand that from the time perspective, I'm gonna get back into the main thing of illusion. I just want to talk about time. But when we get back into the time perspective of it all, right? Do you really waste time? Right. And here's what it would mean to waste time. If we know that time is about location now, right? And it's about the events accumulated in a specific location, or the events that happen in a location that you're able to recall or draw on, that you're linked to, right? If we know that that's what time is, how do you waste it? You don't waste time by sitting on your ass, per se, binging for 4 or 5 hours and no shit like that. You waste time by having no experience in the location that you are. We've gone a lot of places, and there's things that we have not experienced while we were there. Things we don't know to experience, things that we will never experience. But when we look at our overall experience, that was our time there. It's obvious when you really think about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when people ask you about, yo, what was your time like on this vacation? You don't go back and say, well, at 3:30 we did this, at 2, like you don't put time like, yo, you talk about the events that occurred in the moment for the location you were in, right? This is time. This is time. Now, the misunderstanding is what's going to be different because it doesn't matter. Because as we link time, we ultimately create history. History is just agreed upon locations, agreed upon times, right? So let's look at how history actually plays out. You have to have multiple people synchronized within the same. When we look at the pandemic, we're tied to the pandemic historically. Nobody is going to remember the actual time. Nobody's going to remember, but we're going to remember the experience and the events that occurred within the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years. We're going to remember this. We're going to understand this. We're going to look at it now. In real time, you're watching how illusions are being played out. In real time, considering time and what we're dealing with right now with the pandemic, illusions are being played out right in your face right now. Now, this is now is going to tie into how the truth is relative, right? They're not telling lies, they're telling relative truths, right? A relative truth is different from a lie. This is why it's easy to manipulate because it's like I can give you solid information about a relative truth because it's still a truth. It's just relative. It doesn't apply to the situation, but I'm using it to manipulate. And by using it to manipulate, I create the illusion. And it's hard to see through illusion when the truth is there, right? So nowadays, we're just watching a whole bunch of healthy people, kids at that. And when I say kids, I mean like in their 20s and under, just dropping dead on sports, having heart attacks and cardiac arrest, playing sports. Kids playing sports, having heart issues. And they say it's not because of the vaccine. These are accidental deaths. These are accidental deaths. That's what we got to call these motherfuckers, right? You know how many people are dropping it? And they're not. There was a time when the pandemic hit, every death was related to COVID. Now you mean to tell me that no death is related to the vaccine? How? How? Every person that died in the last 2 years, they said they died of COVID. They didn't die of COVID. They died with COVID. That was the illusion. They had COVID when they died. The illusion. It's relative truth. It's like, well, technically, you can say a nigga died of COVID because he had COVID when he died. No, no. And did they really have COVID? Because what if they were asymptomatic when they died? That changes the illusion. That was another piece of the illusion that actually they said niggas is asymptomatic. Now, here's why the pandemic was so potent and so powerful. Because illusion is when you manipulate understanding. Do you really have to manipulate understanding when someone is only at the level of belief of the mind? No, you don't. But if you can manipulate understanding of somebody that's at the belief level of the mind, they will regurgitate information as if they knew it. They will say whatever someone in authority says. They will follow suit and comply like a motherfucker. Because the belief level of the mind is about faith or fear. What did they tell you the whole time? Trust science. Trust. We know trust initiates the shit. Trust gets you into developing either I'm going to have faith in this or I'm going to have fear of it. That's going to make me believe in it, but it's going to be trust. They told you just trust science, trust the illusion, trust science that had not been done. How do you trust something with no data? The data is being revealed right now. All of the data that we hypothesize, you feel me? Before it started saying, hey, y'all, this is going to be bad. They're going to tell you this. They're going to lie about this. They're going to tell you this. They didn't lie about anything. They gave a relative truth. Now people are asking, yo, when the pandemic was hitting, people was dying. They kept the tickers running at all times because they needed the illusion to be made. It's a ruse. The reason an illusion is as powerful as it is because it manipulates your understanding. When you are at the belief level of the mind and you don't understand much, it's easy as fuck to manipulate you. You feel me? It's hard as fuck to manipulate a motherfucker who understands. You know why? Because they get called conspiracy theories. It's not that we're conspiracy theorists. We are. Well, even when you think about it, a theory is something that has been tested and tried over and over again. It just hasn't been validated yet. So we're speaking on a theory of a conspiracy that keeps coming up. Like none of them were wrong. The only reason why conspiracy theories are wrong because of the illusion of what they come with, the misunderstand, the manipulation of understanding. When you're telling somebody about what you understand and they only believe it, and then they only believe it from authority figures, you're gonna waste your time arguing with them over nothing, arguing with an illusion. People cannot see through an illusion because it manipulates their understanding. When people first get woke, this happened to me. But when a lot of people get woke, they get real angry because they see through the illusion finally. Their understanding is no longer being manipulated. But because of how the illusion has already been played, we feel like everybody else is above us or at a different level than us, or everybody else should be able to see this too. Mm-mm, mm-mm. This is why I don't give a fuck about telling people about, like, I do this shit for my podcast and the episodes that I have and shit for my audience, which is y'all, but I don't go out trying to break illusions for people no more. It's stupid. It's futile. Most of these people aren't even off the level of the belief level of the mind. I can't shatter an illusion for them because it's gonna fuck them up. You dig what I'm saying? It's like people would rather be mad at the person who told them the truth than mad at the person who told them the lie. I didn't fuck your life up. But this is why I say illusion also too is relative. Like, motherfuckers can literally benefit from the relative truth or the pseudo lie or whatever the case may be. But the relative truth, people can still benefit from it. And that's what can fabric. Like, yo, this is real. This is legit. I fucks with this. Just because it's legitimate and it's real doesn't mean it's not an illusion. It's a manipulation of your understanding. When the Forex shit was popping off, and motherfuckers was like, yeah, Forex niggas scammers, they fucking up our money, they're doing this, that, and the third. It's like, no, they created an illusion. They manipulated your understanding of something they manipulated your understanding when you had no understanding. So this is why it sounded so good. This is why after every trade, after every signal they sent you, they said, but trading is volatile. Like, I have never had to say that to my students. I have never told them, hey, try this. But remember, it could go either way because um trading and investing is volatile and is risky and it's all of this. Now, I have said this to my students. It could go either way because we are sitting in the middle of this pocket. It can either continue up, it can continue down, but we know that we can't buy or sell into these specific points. The where. We don't give a fuck about when, we give a fuck about where, because this is where the time is. The reason why I'm saying that, and I'm tying it to the trading and investing and all this other stuff, because it makes me think about this quote. And if I don't say it now, I'll be too deep into the episode for it to make sense. JP Morgan once said, millionaires use accountants, right? Billionaires use astrology. The first time I heard that quote, it was like, and I'm talking to people about it, they were like, yeah, because astrology is real. You don't, but astrology is real based off of what you use. It's the energy that you're able to use. And so as I was, processing and everything, and I'm thinking about that quote, it's like, it's all about location. Astrology ain't about time. It's about location. Even when you know your natal chart, even when you know all of that shit, it's about the location you were. When we look at the daylight saving time and those timestamps, and they put that's still about what location you were in relation to what? The sun. As we know, everything is in relation to sun. AM, PM. It's like, where are you? Time is where are you in relation to the sun? It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Time is where you are in location to the sun. And the reason why I'm mentioning that now, especially with like I said, with the JP Morgan thing, is because when you realize now how to make things work, it's not about the time. It's about the location you need to be, which means what? It's also about opportunity in a sense, right? So now when I go back to Mother Nature and Father Time, we look at nature as just the earth, the trees, and all this other shit. No, nature is essence. Nature is essence. So if essence is the mother and location is the father, when the two things, the child is where the essence and the location come together. When we look at our ancestors, what did we honor? The father, the son, the father, the mother, and the child. They got us believing about, you feel me? Tying into the illusion. That got us on the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Because when I tell you that religion has three levels to it, the mythology, the ritual, and the allegory, you change the mythology to avoid people accepting the allegory, right? When you start to change the mythology without telling what the understanding of the mythology was first, now you can create a subservient level of people. You dig what I'm saying? You create such a subservient level of people that they follow anything blindly and don't give a damn. You feel what I'm saying? They don't give a damn who's listening. They don't give a damn who's what. They just follow the shit, right? And this is because of illusion. So we have Mother Nature, we have Father Time, and we have the child. I'll have to sit and, get the download and understand what a child is because I didn't get that yet. But Mother Nature is essence. Father Time is location, right? So when your nature and your essence come together, you produce a child, which creates time. Not time. It creates it hold on, let me say that back. Mother Nature, Father Time create the child, right? The child is the amalgamation of the essence and the location of where the essence was, right? Or that essence was produced. Now, within that location, right, you have to stamp it. So there's events that occur, right? So the child are the events that occur, right? The child are the events that occur when the essence and the location come together. To the core of it, when you really think about it, that's all life is: the Father, the Son, and the child. The Father, the Mother, and the child. Sorry. But then they got us believing it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, because now that changes it, because it's still under the principle, oh, this is just all about location and creation. The essence meets with the location and creates the event. Wow, I like that. I like that definition. The child is the event. The mother is nature. The father is location or time, right? And they come together to create the event, which is the child. The greater the event, the longer it sits within time, the longer it stands, quote unquote, the test of time. To stand the test of time means that your essence remains at this location. You feel me? The events that occurred at this specific location remain. They're not forgotten. So, like I said, when we look at bigger pictures and stuff, it's like how you're tied to the event. When we look at the fight of Troy, right? You remember what? Right? You remember the Trojan horse, right? Because that is the part of the story that affected everybody in Troy. You feel me? You have some moments that don't apply to everybody, like when the bull stole Helen. You feel me? And then his brother had to end up fighting him. You feel me? Those are parts that you don't remember. You don't remember uh parts that don't affect everybody. But when everybody has been selected to be affected, the event affects everybody at this location. Time has been created. So now you chronologize it and say, hey, this happened at this particular time. But because time doesn't exist, this is why within our own memory, time serves for other people. This is why within our own memory, we can remember shit, like I said, back 10, 20 years ago that feels like yesterday, right? But this person will never understand the experience because we can't give them that, right? So this is how it's manipulated, right? So tying it into the manipulation, right? This is one of the ways in which it is manipulated because I have the experience and you don't. When I can create the illusion and make it stronger when I can be as detailed about the experience as possible. And now you just have to trust what I say. I can manipulate your understanding because I was there. You ever seen a situation where, and this is where time, they don't want us to understand that time is about location so much so that when we actually look at, the religious, like we're in the year AD. So they control the time according to the event that is supposed to be Jesus, right? There was never an event as such, which is crazy because now it makes us look at our reality different. It makes us experience and say things and speak on things that we never experienced before, that we weren't there for. And the reason why I use the religion, because it's like we matter of factly speak about the events of a religion as if we seen them happen. I told y'all it was going to eventually come to the illusion. The greatest illusion that we have as people, especially as black people, is the religion that we follow, because our understanding is continually manipulated. Continually manipulated by one simple word: context. That's how you understand that the truth is relative to this shit. This is by design. This is no accident. I didn't. It's not a happenstance. Every religion is made this way because it's broken down the mythology, ritual, and the allegory. With them being broken down this way, the illusion, right? Their illusion is, you know, contextually, are you right or wrong? That's it. Fuck if this information is right. Fuck if it's historical. Fuck if it really happened. Contextually, are you right or wrong? This is why I always say religion cannot, masculinity and religion will never go hand in hand. So when I tell people the world is run under toxic femininity, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, no, it's not because women I'm not talking about women. See, this is the illusion. If gender is a social construct, and that's why I talk about women having a predisposition and things of that nature, doesn't mean that you don't have the essence. When men have the essence and they embody it, femininity becomes destruction, and we get war, calamity, famine, things of this nature that leads to destruction. This is what we're running the world in. Masculinity will never do this to the world. You feel me? Masculinity is about analysis and deconstruction. So analysis and deconstruction breaks the illusion of religion. So when we talk about buck breaking, when we talk about who, why men are the cornerstones of this world in regards to break, like that's why time belongs to the father, because it's about what happens at this event, right? What happens at this location? I'm sorry. How did these events come to be? Because that's when masculinity and femininity have to go together. Because femininity is mother nature, masculinity is father time. That's why I brought those back like that. You feel what I'm saying? And it's about the location. It's about the location when time comes in to play. And a lot of people don't want to be in the location or deal with the location because they want to deal with the minutes, seconds, and hours, not realizing minutes, seconds, and hours still denote fucking location. So, like I said, when it comes to being in context, because I don't want to get too off, when it comes to being in context, that is the way in which the illusion is manipulated. It's so subtle, but it's so grand, because when people are reading these contexts, it's like, yo, that's not what that said. No, that's not what you interpreted. Illusion is that powerful. So they created the illusion of religion. Religion itself is an illusion. It's not a real thing. It's an illusion, right? This is why on and on people can continue to do certain shit under the guise of the illusion because their understanding is manipulated. I understand that I can do X, Y, and Z. Like when I tell people, if you don't sin, Jesus died for nothing, they look at me like I'm blasphemous. But I said, really sit and think about it. Jesus died for your sins. And if you don't sin, Jesus died for you for nothing. Sin a little bit. Hey, get turned up. But people won't do that because of the illusion. And now the biggest illusion is the fear of hell. If that ain't an illusion, I don't know what is. They give you a relative truth about how fire works, right? They give you a relative truth. They give you a relative truth about how fire works. They give you an empty truth about death. And they give you a false sense of spirit. So now you think you're going to burn in hell. And you're not. That's a major illusion. But the truth is, the pain that fire gives you makes you not even want to think about hell. But if you think about hell long enough, you realize it can't be any physical fire there. We're all spirits. We're all souls. Our inner energy sits above, like, you ever have nerve damage, but you never, like, if you ever burnt yourself, your nerves never hurt. Your nerves are responsible for telling you that you're in pain, but your nerves don't feel it. Your nerves are your soul. So if your nerves don't even feel, the nerves just tell you that you're in pain. They don't feel the pain the way that your body feels the pain. You feel what I'm saying? And that's because your soul is there. If you break something, your soul don't hurt. Yeah, when your soul hurt, that's different. That hit different. You don't even feel it in your body at first. It goes that deep. You dig what I'm saying? Or you can feel it all over your body. The pain can be all over your body because your soul hurts rather than the pain being isolated. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to get into the contextualization of, religion and all this other illusory shit. So when we misunderstand the understanding, like even with religion, like I said, we don't even have the understanding of our religion. We believe it. How easy is it to manipulate a motherfucker who just believes some shit? Most motherfuckers who believe in their religion don't read the religious text. They won't tell you until you're in a combative conversation. They're getting upset because their feelings are being hurt about the relative truth that they've accepted. Their feelings are being hurt about it because you're speaking against somebody I trusted. You're speaking against, okay, well, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. So when we put those two proponents to it, or three, however many I said, when we put those proponents to it, we start to get into a world that makes us live life just by trusting people without seeking understanding, right? So when it comes to moments like these with the pandemic and shit like that, nobody's going to question shit. Nobody's going to care to question shit. They're just going to do, right? Because it's like, we don't think, like, I have family members tell me, we're not scientists. I am. I'm sorry that y'all chose not to understand science or whatever. So y'all, I don't have to trust what they're talking about. They cannot manipulate my understanding. When they came out, this is why, like, I'm so glad that I understood PCR. 'Cause when they came out and said mRNA technology is PCR, I'm like, you can't use PCR to tell. You use PCR to multiply DNA. How are they doing? Unless COVID is penetrating your DNA system, right? That was my first thought. Then I seen the vaccine coming out and this mRNA technology. I said, oh, they was collecting DNA samples the whole time, bro. That's what they were doing. Because you can get DNA samples from, you got to get the best DNA samples come from moist palates in the body. The best place you're going to get them from are your buccal cells, which are your cheeks, or your nasal palate. They went all the way up into your sinuses to get your DNA on a Q-tip, and you think they tested your shit. They didn't test your shit. They kept your shit because this is the illusion. Now GlaxoSmithKline, 23andMe, like they're buying these DNA template places. You feel me? These DNA template places don't know shit. Like, think about this. Like, this is a part of an illusion. They told all black people that they from Africa. You know why? They told all black people that they from was it West Africa or East? Yeah, West Africa. They told all black people y'all from West Africa, right? So we can believe it. So when we run our DNA test, oh yeah, I got this from Benin and the Congo and this side, and it's like everything that's, where everybody is. Like, we all came from there because it keeps the illusion alive. It keeps the illusion alive that, yeah, you were slaves, bro. Y'all got shipped off into slavery. Not that y'all motherfuckers was already on this land building shit down in the Grand Canyon that connected shit to Kemet and Egypt and shit. Like, no. We're going to keep y'all out the Grand Canyon because we don't want y'all to know how powerful those monuments are or what really there. We're going to let you know that it's a Grand Canyon. It's just an empty hole. But no, when we create the illusion that you, like, this was the thing, like, they don't get me wrong, people from Africa came over here and were enslaved, but that's not the bulk of the slavery. That's not the bulk of the enslavement. They enslaved indigenous people. The lighter flesh indigenous people, they moved out west. They enslaved and killed the motherfuckers that look like me and you. You feel me? That's who got enslaved. But the illusion is, as long as we came on boats, we keep everything alive. Because you know how big this lie is? Let's peep this, right? I'm going to take it out. The reason why they were called Indians when they first landed, because the map was upside down. They were supposed to be going west, manifest destiny. So from Spain, if you sail west, right, you could end up in India, because India is actually to the west of Spain. So they thought they sailed west. They sailed east. That's how they ended up in the Americas, and they changed it to the Indians. They say, yo, we're in India. No, you're wrong. To keep this lie alive, we have to change everything by starting with flipping the map the other way. You ever wonder why they always talk about how uh, 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 the Nile River is the only river that defies gravity? It flows up north and down south. Flows up north and down south. Maybe it's not defying gravity. Maybe the illusion is that the understanding of it has been manipulated. And it has, because the map has been completely flipped upside down. But we're going to keep it. Y'all are Indians. Y'all are Indians. And then you land on a place called India. And it's like, whoa. That was the other way. We went the wrong way. Oops. History would have been completely different. Right? But they landed over here. You feel me? And then now the illusion is you tell the story, you tell history of how the events played out. Bad guys are good guys are villains. The monster's the one who described by the children of the storyteller. Always remember that. The children of the storyteller describe who's good and who's bad. Goes back to relative shit. You feel what I'm saying? You don't really know certain shit until you experience it. But all you can do is, create the illusion or believe what you want to believe about the shit. You feel me? This is when I tell people, like, when people say, I have conversations with people like, yo, you're going to believe what everybody's going to believe what they want to believe. True, they're going to believe what they want to believe, but that's where the problem comes in. Because most of us are believing in illusions because we're dealing with manipulations of our understanding. Because how easy, like I said, how easy is it to manipulate your understanding when you don't have understanding because you just have belief? You haven't even gone through the wall of cognitive dissonance with a topic or idea to even gain knowledge about it. You definitely haven't experienced it. So how can you have understanding about it? So what is being manipulated within you? It's not even your understanding because you don't even have that. So that illusion is going to be a lot deeper to you because you can't see through it. Now, the person who has understanding, now you have the option to accept or reject this shit. When you don't have understanding, all you can do is have fear and faith in it because you got to believe it or not believe it. But when you understand, there's no not understanding something. Either you accept it or reject it. Now, this is why the truth comes in, because when a person, the illusion comes in, because when the person comes in with the relative truth, you feel me? If I told you that, I use the example I use from Silver 3 in the Time to Kill movie. If you just heard on surface that Carl Haley shot and killed two brothers, it's like, damn, what'd he do? It changes the truth. If you just look at it on paper, a black man killed two white dudes. In the South, okay, that's different. It's like you hear that and you like, okay, what was going on? This is one of the reasons why when people hear certain shit, when people hear that, there's an illusion tied around black people as a whole. So when people hear something about black people, it's like, yo, we've been trying to tell y'all this, but they're like, oh, we didn't know, because you don't believe it, because the illusion is the understanding is so manipulated that as black people, sometimes we have to manipulate our own understanding too. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, we don't realize how bad integration was for us. So much so that we're trying to justify how good it is. They finally let us drink their water, and we realized it was the same water. They finally let us into the good schools, and we realized the schools, motherfuckers still stupid. They just have more resources. They finally let us into it's like the illusions have been shattered, but now we can't leave the illusion because there's nothing for us to go back to. They took everything. We integrated and got segregated amongst ourselves. Now we can't fuck with each other, right? Which caters to the illusion. So now when you have the black people who are, are still, y'all need to pull up by your bootstraps. You're talking like them. You didn't even pull up by your bootstraps. You didn't have bootstraps. You had to go buy boots first. I get it. You feel me? Once we make it out, we feel like, no, the struggle ain't over for all of us because one of us get out this motherfucker. And we don't even really get out because now we still want to hold on to the illusion of where we came from, of what we were in different capacities. So we'll cater to one illusion of a, inferiority thing amongst them. But amongst ourselves, we have the superiority thing because I'm closer to them than you are. And don't even realize that that's what we're doing.
All you keep hearing is get into the markets, but do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, Forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it?
Yeah, I don't really hang with white people like that, but you have the degree, you have the education, you have the higher levels of academia. You wonder why you can't fuck with your people? You went up too high. I'm not saying denounce your religion, your systems and your awards and your accolades and shit like that, but understand the illusion that it gave you. Yeah, you have the degree, but you have the degree that is accredited by someone who's oppressing you. You validated me. Your oppressor validated you. You feel me? Yes, I have my degree. Yes, I understand, but my education cannot be validated. My knowledge base cannot be validated by them anymore. They can tell you all day long. Well, what about the stats? Like, this is why they do things like statistics. This is why they do things like you got to have numbers. This is why they start to do certain shit like that, because they're like, if you can't quantify it and show us that it's quantified, then you can't be in this conversation with us. But it's like, yo, your numbers are what skew the illusion. I was just talking about this the other day on my Instagram page and with another person in person, like, and that's what prompted it. It was along the lines of how what was it? If you damn, I done lost the thought. Damn, I done lost the thought. Fuck it. It'll come back to me. But if we're looking at how, you know, our own personal illusions are being played out, like, how easy is it for the world's illusions on the grander stage to be used and used in our lives and affect us in the way that they affect us? You dig what I'm saying? Because when we focus heavy, when we focus too heavy on the things that, you know, oppress us, we can't focus on things that liberate us. Now, a lot of us are stuck in an illusion that we can't be free. Now, that's a mind fuck for your ass. Like, you feel me? A lot of us only succumb to religions because we feel like we can't be free unless we do. And we still ain't free under the religion that enslaved us, because that's what was used to enslave you. It's different. It's different. It's levels, but it's illusion still. Your understanding has been manipulated so much so that when we go back to slavery, like, this is one of the reasons why I hate the argument of we're the real Jews or whatever. Like, you know, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't want anything to do with the religion. That's why I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I realized, yo, this entire thing enslaved me. Like, it enslaved my people. And I get it. A lot of people say, well, there was Coptic Christians in Egypt or whatever. If y'all, like, I'm not from there. So even still, when I say I'm not from there, tying it back into the illusion of time, whatever. But when I say I'm not from there, this is not me shitting on those people. They're saying, like, I'm not a part of where they are. However, if I buy into the notion that, you know what I'm saying, the deeper you go back into the notion of where you are, you have to realize who you are, right? At this particular time of my people, like, this is why they don't want your history. Like, all of your history is kept in the Vatican and shit, but this is why they have to delete it, because it's like, when I tell you where and what you did, you can do it again. History is deeper than just trying to remember the past. There's things in the past, there's stories that have been told a certain way. As white people, colonizers, whatever, their history is all about war. So everything they share in some way, shape, or form is about e-commerce. What? Not e-commerce, economy, because e-commerce is online. Is it? Well, basically, it's about commerce and war. That's it. Look at the history that you study every year. It's about commerce and war in some way, shape, or form. If they were fighting the war, or they were trying to figure out a way how to take over some shit to make some more money, because they have no essence. They have no essence, which means they need status. So we're now living in the world where we have essence and don't need status to reign supreme. They don't want us to have the status, so they create the world. So the illusion is always there that you need status rather than just maintaining your essence. Like, that's where the real fear is, in the essence of a person, right? So we manipulate and control the essence of the people, right? And as long as we control the essence of the people, fuck the time, because we go back to Mother Nature. Nature is the essence. We control Mother Nature. We control the Mother Nature in you. We can make you do whatever you want with your time. We can control your time. You ever heard the phrase, you know how they say time is money? You feel me? And they ask you like, what would you rather do? Would you rather save your money, save your time, whatever the case may be? Now we understand if we're looking at time from the perspective of, how we just broke down time. When time is money, it's what events at this location did you create to equal the money that you're going to need? Like entrepreneurship, and this ties into entrepreneurship, ties in that JP Morgan quote about billionaires using astrology and things of that nature. But entrepreneurship, we have a lot of where moments. It's not when. A lot of people be thinking, when does this happen? When you get out of time being about when and then you start to see it about where, now you put yourself in to be on like people like, yo, this opportunity just presented itself. Opportunity calls. I was in the right place at the right time. The right place is the right time. I'm gonna let that be, dramatic for a bit. The right place is the right time. So when people say, "Oh, this was the wrong person, the right time, whatever," it's never off like that. It's never off like that. It is what it is, freely. You feel what I'm saying? So when we think about opportunities, we think about like, where were you when that opportunity presented itself? Were you where you were supposed to be? That's the real question, because the opportunity presents itself because you're at the presentation. The fuck? It's not difficult. It's not that hard. But as a people, we don't look at it from that perspective. We think, oh, this happened when I was, like, for example, there's things that you have to do before you can receive something. You feel what I'm saying? I used to always say that I got this epiphany when I went to med school. You feel me? Everybody's ready to go, but nobody's ready to be there. Right? You can go to the party, but can you stay there? Can you function in it? Because it's all about location. It's all about where. Where are you? Where are you physically? Where are you mentally? Where are you spiritually to be able to participate in the events that will transpire at this location when a particular essence comes out? Many of us can't answer that question. And we can't answer that question not because we don't have the answer to the question, because we don't know that the question has been formulated. Because of the illusions that are imposed upon our lives, our understanding is manipulated if we have understanding about what it is we're dealing with. A lot of us haven't sat with anything long enough to have the experience to understand it, to be creative enough with the experience to understand it. Right? This ties in because now when I talk about creativity, right, and then truth being relative, and then when we're at this level, the illusion being it's creativity. It's relative. Truth is relative because now I can create something different than what you can create with the same information. And because it is still from the same source that we're creating it from, I can show you, like, this is why when I tell people about the religion and shit, and they talk about it being about context and shit, this is why. Because it taps into your creativity. What creativity do you have with this information? Nobody's seen any of this shit happen. So literally, we are all drawing on our imagination of what we think happened. Like, for real, for real. And we've been drawing on it for so long that the belief has been trusted in so long and the illusion has been so we think that this shit really happened. When it just soundly can't, like, even if we just start with the beginning. I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, y'all, think about it. Like, woman came from man's rib one time, and man has been coming from a woman's womb since. How the fuck was man made first? From the dust, from the dirt? A nigga just pulled it from the dirt? That's different. That's different. Now I get it. People talk about parthenogenesis and, women having babies by themselves. They, the sperm came from the bone marrow. I don't know how the fuck that shit works. Again, the reason why, because I have a different level of understanding. So my understanding can't be manipulated with parthenogenesis. When people were talking about, yeah, because, the black woman is God, because she can do this, she can make her own. And it's like, no, no. Can you show me? Oh no, because she see with all of the time and with men being created, she forgot it. No, that's so you're saying her womb is half vestigial. Vestigial means that it's not working right. It's like You're telling me that she has like they say our appendix is vestigial to put things in context. Like we don't use it. We use our appendix. We just don't eat the food. We don't have the same diet that required our appendix to be used. Because if the appendix really was vestigial, it wasn't working. It served no purpose. There is no way that you can get appendicitis, right? Appendicitis is an actual disease. It's actual symptom, inflammation of the appendix. You can actually get your appendix inflamed, but can't nobody tell you what the fuck it do. It's vestigial. It's something that like that's the illusion. Your appendix really doesn't do anything, but you can catch appendicitis. That means that if I can catch appendicitis, that means something is going in there. Something is like, so what purpose does it serve? They don't know. And because they don't know, or they don't have what it's used for, you feel me? They'll say it's vestigial. Like melanin. They say melanin is a waste product because they don't produce the right melanin. They produce failed melanin, we produce eumelanin. So they'll say melanin is just a waste type. For you, it is just waste for you, a waste product for you, because y'all don't have it. Y'all don't do nothing with it. For us, it converts sunlight to vitamin D. It converts our music to energy. It converts every sensory thing. It enhances our sensory, but it also has a negative side to it too. It causes us to be able to bind to alkaloid, and for alkaloid chemicals a lot stronger. Crack cocaine, alkaloid. You feel me? Marijuana is a cannabinoid. That is a different system within our bodies. But now, here's another thing about cannabis and shit that they're trying to tell. Oh, weed is bad, this, that, and the third. No, weed is not bad for black people. But anything that you do in excess is going to be bad for you. So let's say we hit a blunt, we tapped it twice, calmed our nerves down, mellowed and shit. We could tap in differently. We get so high that we don't get to tap in because we overindulge in it. We never take marijuana. We never get marijuana in its basic dose. We go straight to its extreme, most potent form. And then now we fuck with our cannabinoid system because now we think that that's the space we have to be in every time we smoke weed. We don't. If you're being introduced to weed and you into it your very first time, you tap it and you just get the little bitty buzz and shit. You're supposed to gradually build up to it. Most of us, we hotbox the very first time we smoke. Or we smoke multiple blunts with multiple people, we get fucked up and nobody tells us. We just laugh and shit. We don't really understand what is happening to us because we have a cannabinoid system, right? But they create the alkaloid system, right? Well, they don't create it. The alkaloids that they create are what's put into our bodies. And when it's put into our bodies, it binds heavily to things that are melanated, right? The melanin chemical structure has a very dope array. If you ever looked at the chemical structure of melanin, it is a fucking dope molecule, but it has several binding sites. If you understand organic chemistry, it has several attachment sites that alkaloids can bind to, and they fit in there so perfectly. And they know that. That's why crack was so bad. You ever wonder why crack hit black people harder than it hit white people? I get it. Oh yeah, they were trying to kill us all, but nah, there was just equally. Like I knew white crackheads just as much as I knew black crackheads, but white crackheads could get off of it easier. The black crackheads get broken the fuck down. Like it's like different because we're different. But the illusion is that we're all the same. Shouts to Bill Nye, the science guy. Oh, we all bleed. The blood is red. Animals bleed red. Anything that bleeds red because blood carries iron. When iron meets oxygen, it oxidizes, which makes it turn red. See how an illusion works? When a motherfucker doesn't know that basic information about the biology of blood, when you tell them people are all the same because we bleed the same, they'll believe it. We're all one race, the human race. We're not, nigga. That's why there's 3 distinct races. The fuck? Like you can literally, a motherfucker can die and you can literally tell whether they were Africoid, Mongoloid, or Caucasoid. That's it. Now you can't tell if they were Christian. You can't tell if they were Hebrew. You can't tell no shit like that, of course. But you can tell that they were Africoid, Mongoloid, or Caucasoid because those are the 3 races of people. I got an episode on that. You know, those are the 3 races of people. All this other shit that we think we talk, no, they're just amalgamations and mixes of something in that. This is why it's us, the African, beefing with the Asian and the white dude. The Arab is in between those 2 motherfuckers, right? But at the end of the day, they're all in cahoots with each other. They're not black and we not them. We're not all the same. It's them against us because it's like, yo, we are the dominant species here. You feel me? But the illusion is that we're the minority. Ain't that some shit? As the dominant genetic dominance, as the being with the genetic dominance, you have been, the illusion has been shifted that you're a minority on a land that you lived on, a land that is yours, a land that you're native to. You're the minority to it. I tell people all the time, there's no way in hell you can convince me I'm a minority when my genetics are dominant. Me personally, me by myself, I can have a healthy cum shot in one sperm cell. I have enough in one cum shot that can impregnate every woman on the face of this earth. Me. It's just me by myself, one man. And you have the nerve to tell me that I'm the minority, that I'm the inferior one. Not only that, I and my people have the nerve to believe it. That's how illusion works. That's how an illusion works. And I use the time part because an illusion takes time to manifest itself, because you have to have some understanding about, you have to have a level of understanding that something doesn't have in order to manipulate it. You feel me? When religion was given out to our people, we couldn't read. They didn't let us read and write when they gave us the religions. Mind you, they were cutting our heads off as they were giving it to us, ripping our bodies in half and beating us and tormenting us as they were giving it to us. But they gave it to us in those times. We didn't know shit about it. They gave it to us in a whole different language. So you wonder why they stripped your language, your culture, and all of that shit, and you couldn't talk in it, because I now create your illusion. You can't understand anything that I'm saying. So even if you do, this is why I tell people, especially black people, this is why I'm big on making sure, you understand etymology, you understand words, you understand language, like being a fluid reader, but knowing. People be thinking I got a vocabulary, oppressive vocabulary to stand above people. Like, y'all notice, y'all pay attention. I don't really use this shit all the time. It's just here because I have to understand this language. This language is a manipulation. This language is a mind fuck. It's a whole manipulation. And if you're not on point with the shit that you need to be on point with, then you'll never see through the illusions. Like data and data spelled the same, but you have to read contextually to know how to pronounce it right. But you can't pronounce it right because both pronunciations work. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. You feel what I'm saying? This language is built to trick people, create illusions. Now, when they say white people are the masters of technology and white people are the masters of illusion, white people are masters of deception, this is why. White people ain't stupid. White people aren't stupid. White people aren't, evil per se. They do evil shit, but I don't want to say they're evil in the context of, the bigger thing. But white people are the masters of illusion. But now, when you understand what illusion is, just uh the manipulation of understanding. They're good at manipulating understanding, but this is why I'm saying they're not stupid, because they understand. Now, this ain't all white people. This is the forces that be that are controlling this shit. They have understanding. And they know we keep certain levels of understanding away from the people so we can always create the illusion. It's not hard. When I learned day trading and investing, I know I keep going back to this, but like all this other shit is done. So this is really all I do and I talk about now. And you know what I mean? But when I got into day trading and investing, right, one of the biggest things that I had to learn about it, was that it's not as difficult as people make it seem. And it's a controlled game. It's not luck. It's not chance. Somebody is making the market do these things. Right? Now, the way it flows off of the human psychology, human emotion, which is the illusion, because humans don't even your emotions are controlled because you don't understand. When people ask me like, yo, the stock market's falling, what you gonna do? Buy a put option. You're not taking your money out? The fuck for? I don't you'll take your money out because you don't know what you're doing. I keep my money in and just move it a different way. You know why? Because I'm not manipulated by the understanding of this system. Right? So anybody who is manipulated by this understanding, when the news says buy, they buy in, and it's actually selling time. When the news says sell, it's actually time to buy. So again, an illusion contains the truth. An illusion is relative. It's the truth. It's relative truth. It's when truth is relative to the experiencer. So when the news reports the shit that the larger players have already made happen, it's like, eh. Like when you hear shit about, like, this is something that I learned just doing forex and transferring forex over to stocks and just correlating. They already decided what they're gonna do with the US dollar before the news comes out. Fuck the news. They don't care about the news because they're gonna make the news happen. They're doing that for the people that don't know what's going on so they can get volume. Because where I can be one person buying 1,000,000 shares. To sell all of that off, I need 1,000,000 people. You dig what I'm saying? Otherwise, the prices wouldn't change. You feel me? So they create the illusion of the markets. Like all the markets are larger players buying low and selling high because they have the most volume. And they're watching where the memory banks happen. That's it. That's it. It becomes a lot more difficult than that when you see charts, indicators, all of this other shit. And it's like, that's how the truth can be manipulated. Like you think you need all of this extra shit and you don't because of the illusion. It's not even a lie. It's the illusion. The illusion is the manipulation of your understanding. How much of your life has been manipulated? How much of your understanding has been manipulated? You'll know by when you find out the real information how angry you get. Religion is one of the hardest things to come to terms with because when people find out that it's not real or that they wasted their life living something that wasn't supposed to be a part of them, or that their genetic makeup is older than the religion that they follow, or that it's so many, when people come to terms with that, betrayal happens. That's why betrayal hits so hard because people think that that when you're betrayed, it's because somebody lied to you. Nah, that's more disappointment. Betrayal is when our understandings of the truth align and I realize you've been playing with me. Y'all seen Snowfall? And I think it's season 4. Yeah, because Manboy got killed in season 4 when he was fucking with T and she was playing him. He didn't know. But when he ran, he was like, how long you been playing me? You feel me? How long you been playing me? Because that illusion has been that she was manipulating his understanding. Why? Because she had understandings on the other side. She had a brother in jail that Manboy was taking care of. She was, you know what I'm saying? It's up to he like, yo, you should have told me. But she couldn't tell you because she had to create the illusion. Therefore, there's information I can't give you. There's things that I can't say to you. There's things that, you know what I mean? Like, illusion is wild too, largely because what illusion does, illusion shows mediocrity within itself. When you are in a space where you cannot coexist without creating illusions for people, you have no substance as a person, as a being, as an entity. So when you have to create illusions, you have to create worlds that people can't see through because you can no longer stand on those worlds. It's like Oz. It's like the Wizard of Oz. When motherfuckers found out what the Wizard of Oz was, he wasn't as grand and magnificent as he was, but in the time the illusion worked. Made the nigga, he manipulated the understanding because the understanding of the Wiz was like, he's a wizard. No, he's a man. You feel me? This is why I'm big on words and actually using the right word for shit. If you call a motherfucker a wizard, automatically you think he does magic. So you think he's greater than he has to be. It says one of the laws of power. I don't know which one, but I'm sure it's probably in there. But even those play a part into it. You can only use the 48 laws of power to be powerful if you understand the art of illusion. We look at illusion solely from a physical perspective and a simple perspective of it's like sleights of hand, magic tricks. You pull the quarter from behind. Like, I manipulated your understanding because there's no way in hell a quarter is supposed to come from my ear, right? I manipulate because there's no way in hell you're supposed to get my card right. You feel me? But they got to eventually reveal your trick because what it is that my understanding of the trick and your understanding of the trick is different. That's why, because my understanding is slightly greater, I can get you to see something that isn't there. You feel me? Now, what does that translate to mentally?
What does that translate to spiritually? When my focus is how well I can manipulate the understanding of the situation. Mentally, it's easy as fuck. Because when you're in a system that teaches you just to blindly accept and fight to get an A, you feel me? Performance based, and how, like, it's not about actually learning. It's about rote memorization, how well you can remember shit, right? So now, when I create a system that allows you to only know what I want you to know, I can manipulate the fuck out of you at will. So when we look at the government, the word govern means to control. The word meant means the mind. Nigga. They didn't even care to hide it. They were like, we're going to call the establishment that runs this country mind control. We're just not going to call it mind control. We're going to call it the government. It's funny because it be right there, but it don't be right there. Yeah, you feel me? But it's tied to the fact that a lot of people don't understand because we don't have understanding because this is by design. We don't have understanding not because we're stupid or we can't understand, but because the system is designed not to teach us how to get to understanding, only to believe and trust in what we're seeing and then reproduce a process that says, hey, you do this, you get that. Basic input and output functions that justify to say, hey, I got it. No, you know how to do it. You feel me? I went through a whole forensic biology curriculum and shit, right? But when it was time to actually do shit, we didn't use half of the shit. We didn't use 75% of the shit that we were just learning. Because we had to learn how to pipette. You had to learn how to hold the thing to the side and get the extract off the supernate. And there's little things that you had to learn how to do. But it's like once you learn the like that's it. You know it. You know how to reproduce this process, right? If you know how to reproduce the process, but you don't know how to think about it, chances are you're under the illusion. And we be thinking, like I said, illusion is just us, it's some deceptive shit. It ain't got to be deceptive. Illusion can be 100% honest. You push illusions on kids all the motherfucking time to get the kids. Like, if you feel me, you want your kid to go to sleep, you bribe them. You do some shit like bribery is an illusion or some shit. I have a different understanding of money than you do. So much so that I have more money than you, so I can bribe you. You feel me? That's not just from the physical aspect with kids and shit. That's life. That's how cops and shit like that's how you can get bribed. This is why they created money for what it was. If time is money, and we know from what we just broke down that time is about location, not when, right? How have they convinced? This is how they were able, in a way, to convince us that we can work hourly. We can have concepts like minimum wage because it's all in perspective. Entrepreneurs don't have minimum wages. We have maximum wages that increase over time. Workers, employees have minimum wages that increase over time. This is the minimum. And I can give you the minimum, but it's like, no, you got to pay me. You feel what I'm saying? When you are taught that time is money, but you're not taught that, and you're taught that time is about when and not about location. You feel me? I need you to experience 8 hours of your day to create events for me. I need 8 hours of your day to create events. That's time. I'll pay you for it. Now, you have to realize what you can do as a person when you're able to bring these events, when you're able to come to these events. That's what dictates certain shit. That's why you see, oh, I get paid more than this person. Because when you come to the event, what happens? Something's different happens that didn't happen at this last event. This is one of the reasons why they be like, it's fucked up, but it's not fucked up. It's reality. When they say WNBA players don't get paid as much as NBA players. They don't bring in the same money. It changed my perspective for real, when I watched the legacy of the Lakers, right? The Jim Buss story and the Jerry Buss story and all of that shit. Lakers changed the NBA game, like, to making revenue like that, to making money like that. He fills the arenas. He puts things up. It's like he charges certain money for that. And they can't do that with that because It worked well because what he did was it started with the Showtime Lakers. Like everybody, when I look at the NBA now, everybody's template is patterned off the Showtime Lakers, which is Magic in them. You feel me? The Showtime Lakers. They set the tone for making money in the NBA, like making buku amounts of money. You feel me? That's how at the time Magic Johnson was able to get a $25 million deal. That is like they throwing that shit out like it ain't nothing now. You feel me? LeBron got a 4-year, what do you have? A 4-year, $125 million deal. At the time, Magic got a lifetime $25 million deal. Different money, bro. Like it's different money, but it's because of the input and output. So when you look at how the women are saying, "Oh, we deserve to get more equal pay," women should be able to. No, they shouldn't because they're not generating what men are generating. You know what I'm saying? If women could dunk, like Shaq said a very powerful point: lower the goal and let women dunk. When women can start doing windmills and alley oops and throwing lobs and shit, it'll get more exciting. It's like 5 women that can dunk, and they got to be over 7 something, right? You're not giving me no 6'6" woman that can, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm using 6'6" as a woman is to, because man, Nate Robinson was 5'9". Spud Webb was like 5'7" or something like that. But like, they should not have been banging like that. You feel me? So again, you give me like a 6'6" woman who can fucking do a windmill, 360 or some shit like that. It's different. You change the game. Like motherfuckers gonna pay to see it. You feel me? Motherfuckers gonna pay to see it. And that's when time is money. But time is money because of the location. That's why I tell you it's all about location. In this particular location, I can set up to have as many people as I want come to this location, right? And spend their time with me, right? What I mean, spend their time with me is that they put their time into like at this location, events are happening. Now, I could connect certain people to certain events. That's why bars are what they are. That's why restaurants are what they are. This is why anything that you can collect, like, because it caters to the illusion of togetherness, low key. You feel me? But in that, it is because with the time, I don't like fuck you sitting here for 2-3 hours. Give me the location. I'm gonna make you stay here at this location and pay me the whole time you're staying here. That's why real estate works so well. Because now you don't just have physical real estate, you have real estate of the mind, you have real estate of the spirit. Like if I can make you stay somewhere, I control you. If I can control your time, I can control your reality. Then I can get paid off of it. This is why time is money. But now, tying it back in is also why time is the illusion. Because the understanding of time is wrong. And money is an illusion because the understanding of money is wrong. Right? Money is an energy. It is a current. It is something that flows. It's a transaction that flows between two people or two entities. A lot of people don't look at time like that. They don't look at money. No, they don't look at money like that. So it's like my money is predicated upon the time, the quality. And this is why they say quality time is better than just time as a whole. Because what do I do with these events that I have with you? I know people whose father was in their life and they're like, yo, I don't know my dad much. But then I know people whose mother and father were separated, but the father only spent the weekends on them. And it's like, yo, he somehow taught them everything. Because time is about location, right? And the illusion that time is about time, as in hours, minutes, and seconds, and that hours, minutes, and seconds aren't about location, that's what fucks time up. That's what changes it, right? So now when we look at the illusions of time, we look at the illusions of money, all of it is your understanding is manipulated. Most people think money is evil. Not even that the verse itself says the love of money is the root of all evil. Motherfuckers even left that out, say, money is evil. So many people believe money is evil that they will never be fruitful enough to grow anything in their life because they think they're accumulating evil shit. A lot of black people in this world, because of the illusion of, what it was, of how we feel about money. As soon as we get it, we blow it because money is evil. And we think that money will make us do evil shit. No, you were going to do evil shit anyway. Now you have the funds to do it. You do what I'm saying? You now have the funds to actually do this shit. But that doesn't mean that you should go out and do the shit. But the illusion will create the world that makes you do that shit. Because you don't understand money. So you think the only way to get money is to go work for it. Well, yeah, working for it isn't the only way to get it, but working for somebody or working for yourself. Working for yourself isn't the thing about working for somebody versus working for yourself that people don't understand is that when you work for somebody, they already did the shit that you're trying to do now. They're going through, quote unquote, the hard phase. They've already gone through the hard phase and now they can employ you. But they've been doing it for hundreds of years. 50 years, 60 years. They've been doing it consistently for a long time. They had their 3 years, their 4 years, their 5 years when nothing was happening, when they still had to put their work in. You feel me? And that is the thing about time. A lot of people think that if I put in 3, 4 years of time, that I should automatically get a reward. No. At the location, when you put these three, at the location you stayed for 3 years, for 4 years, 5 years, was it quality and what were the events like? Did the event set you up to not have to do certain shit anymore? You feel what I'm saying? As an entrepreneur, we're big on systems. We need systems. We need flow. We need something to continually do something like social media marketing, game changer, change the world. If you are selling anything and you do not know how to use social media marketing, I'm not just talking about making a post and like, no, actually the ad tool. So you don't, me personally, after reading the Millionaire Fast Lane and just the mindset that I'm in now as a whole, I prefer them to do the heavy lifting. I don't give a fuck. But I gotta lift heavy first because I gotta know where you have to lift your heavy point. So I can say there's no blockage here, there's no blockage here. Okay, block this, do this, do this. Like one of the things at the time of this recording, one of the things that I just mastered that I can actually say that I'm proud of is like, nigga, finally was with social media marketing changing from a pixel to a domain. Right. I know that seems a lot. It seems like, well, that's not that much. But the pixel is, see, with iPhones change, they wouldn't track shit. Right. You can opt out. Everybody knows they got iPhone now pretty much, but you can opt out of tracking. Now, you can't opt out of tracking for somebody's pixel. They can collect you still. However, if they've already opted out, you can't, you have to validate your website. You dig what I'm saying? So once my website got validated, I no longer had to use the pixel. I can just use my domain because I did own my domain. I didn't know that I should have changed it to that because it never had a point of showing it. Now that that is shown, it's like every ad that I run, like my ads were always working. They were always good. I just couldn't use certain metrics because of the point that I was in. But it was like they're landing, but why am I not something? There's a disconnect. Once I found that disconnect, it fit. And now I put money into it. See, and that was the crazy part about it because it's like when you're doing something and everything still works good, it's like, why fix it? Right. This is just more fine tuned now. It's like, yeah, there's little things that I got to deal with as far as like I have to go to this particular site to look at this and like, but now I don't have to do that. But I knew how to do it. So it wasn't that problematic. You dig what I'm saying? But then in learning it, it was like, I'm going to take away all this other bullshit and get my time back. See, now we go back into time. When I tell people about day trading and investing and the illusion of it and shit, like when I tell people about day trading and investing, I'm not about to sit at a because time is about location. Where are you? I'm going to sit at a computer for no more than an hour and a half a day. No more than an hour and a half a day. This hour and a half includes correlation. Now, mind you, this hour and a half includes correlation. It includes a webinar. It includes breaking down stocks, crypto, and Forex. And then it includes actually either breaking down a trade or a stock, depending on who. Like, these aren't things that I have to do. These are the things that I do for the eWeek community. But that's all of that is done within an hour and a half. But you know how long it took me to be able to do that in an hour and a half? You feel what I'm saying? Because of the location. My time is how long did you sit at this location to create these events? Right. So that way you can create the world that you need to create. Now, because we can't do that, this is the illusion of, money and time and all these things. Because we don't want to sit long enough to do something. We don't have the patience to sit still. It's already done for us. Now you just got to plug in. The system is designed for pawns, but it's open for all players of the game. But it's like the pawn's eye. You don't want to be a rook. You don't want to move in an L. You don't want to move from back and forth. You don't want to be a bishop. You don't want to move these ways. Cool. Be a pawn. Move forward and backwards. That's it. Do what we tell you. You feel me? Or you don't even want to play the game to actually be the person moving these pieces. You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of it is that with the illusion, I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap it up here. With this illusion of success and the illusion of status, we don't realize with the illusion of the status, we actually get the reality of subservience. We look at slavery as ended or whatever the case. No, slavery was ratified. They changed the shit, amended it, made it an actual amendment that you could still be a slave. You just have to be certain conditional things like, yo, our money is backed by people. We don't have enough people in prison. Therefore, we have to put people in jobs. I know people, oh, I got a good job. I make this amount of money. I make this amount of money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, because we got you like that. Because we give you this status, right, to increase your subservience by making you feel obligated to pledge allegiance to this system, which means you have to do everything we tell you to do. That's the illusion. So the illusion of success, the illusion of success of status is actually subservience. It's the illusion of it. I got this job. I got like, there's so many people that I know that like there's that transitionary phase between when you are pro-black, when you're doing those things and you go up and I be telling motherfuckers, yo, you're not gonna break the system from the inside out. You're gonna get muted. There's gonna be things you're gonna have a small window when they let you do shit. But once you cross a certain age, you can't do it anymore. You gotta shut the fuck up, or we're gonna fire you, we're gonna take shit away from you, we'll cancel you, we'll do all of these other things because we understand the illusion we created. Right? It's like your livelihood depends on what I do. Because I create the illusion, because I manipulate the understanding of what you don't like. I manipulate the understanding of this business. I manipulated the understanding of this reality. I manipulated the understanding of this hiring process. This is why as black people, we don't name our kids what we want to name them. We name them white names because I want my kid to get a good job. That's the illusion. The illusion is not about your kid being a good person. It's like their name, their degree, their status. Their status is the illusion of importance. Niggas don't be important for real. You know how many motherfuckers I know that are completely educated but dumb as shit because they never learned anything. They have the illusion of being knowledgeable because they have a degree. You feel what I'm saying? They have the illusion of being knowledgeable because they have the degree, and that is the manipulation of the understanding. The understanding of the understanding of the mind. Like when I talk to people about psychology and shit, and they be like, bro, because psychology is about behavior. It's not about the mind. Your mind ain't got shit to do with your behavior. Largely. You don't have to think to do. You just do. And then hope that you thought right. You feel what I'm saying? But the illusion of it all is that, okay, I'm studying the whole mind. You can't be studying the whole mind if you still don't know how to use it. A lot of psychologists don't know how to use their own mind. That's weird. That's weird. But again, it ties into other things like the religious aspect, different things like that. The religion will always be the greatest illusion that we always face. And until we can see through that illusion, we're going to be stuck forever. We're going to be stuck forever because the greatest illusion that we face right now is the illusion of some shit that didn't really happen. I know people be like, yo, you don't know that it didn't happen. You don't know that it did. And that's where we're here. The illusion isn't getting me. My understanding is that, everybody says seeing is believing, but everybody says seeing is believing, but we largely believe in shit that we never seen before. The greatest proponents of our spirit, of our soul, says that we believe in things that we never experienced before. How the fuck can we understand them? We can't. This is why our manipulation is so easy. When I tell people, I'm like, yo, y'all are cannibals. I'm not a cannibal. Ritualistically, you are. You're eating of the flesh and drinking of the blood. That's cannibalism, my nigga. Like, how did you get convinced to take this? Because the illusion that this is all wise, right, and exact. When it's not. You don't have the chance to accept it. So the manipulation is wrong. So when people are saying things like, I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap it up. The illusion of the Hebrew Israelites. That's an illusion. I want y'all to know that. That's an illusion. Because they say, as Hebrew Israelites, according to the doctrine, we were supposed to be shipped off into slavery. And when we got shipped off into slavery, we were scattered across the lands. The 12 tribes were scattered across the lands. It's like, us here, this, and like, how did we all end up in the Americas when we quote unquote got scattered off? I get it. That's a distant land. You feel me? But at the same time, how can we be indigenous? We can't be the original people that were on this land prior and then still be. And then even if you read the book starts off with Adam, Eve, and then he had his sons, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel because God created the jealousy between the two motherfuckers. And like, you major. That's a whole different story I don't want to talk about right now, but read it contextually. But Cain killed Abel and then went off and got married. To who? To who? I had a conversation with somebody who couldn't answer, so they just started talking out their ass. They was like, well, we don't know that Adam didn't have other families prior to Eve.
We do know that because the book says he was the only man. He was the only one there. But even still, where did these other creations go? These creations could not have been human, but they are human somehow. And Cain went and married one of them and started his own family. So it ain't like he just met one particular, like he went and lived with another family. He met this woman, moved in with her family, had kids with her, and then it's like, so wait, there was other people here. So then when I talk to people that are just so believable, but they don't know that they don't know that they're under the illusion, they'll say, shit, well, we don't know that if Adam didn't have other kids prior to Eve, who the fuck was he gonna have kids with, stupid? I used to ask that question. Then I did some research and I found about Lilith. Lilith was Adam's first wife. Lilith, when I learned about Lilith, I realized the whole story was bullshit because I was like, oh, you could just take important stories out. So Lilith wouldn't make sense why there would be other kids and, Cain would being able to marry and all of this other shit. But it's like, where is Lilith? Why was she banned out? And why was it fully banned from the context? Because it adds to the illusion. When you don't know something, your understanding can be manipulated about it because you need all of the pieces, all of the moving instruments in order to make it a reality. When they create a world in which you're unable to understand, or the quest to understanding has proponents to it that make you not want to understand or make you feel wrong for understanding, there is a system in place that is designed to create an illusion that becomes so potent that you can't do anything with it. So tying this all back in, when we look at the Lilith and, look at the Lilith story, look at Cain and all of this, like, these things are just from the religious perspective. Religion is the cornerstone that makes everything else happen, because first they create the illusion that affects your spirit, your soul. Then they create the illusions that fuck with your mind. And then they create the illusions that fuck with your world, your physical world, your physical being and shit. So where it's like when we look at the vaccine now, they're telling you, like, CDC literally just announced that they said the Pfizer vaccine doesn't have enough data to show that it works, but they want you to get another one. Continue with this experiment because we're not getting the results we said we wanted to get. Okay. It's kids right now dropping with heart disease from being vaccinated. And nobody's talking about the vaccination being the reason. They're having accidental deaths and nobody wants to talk about that. Because what they rather talk about is making it seem as if this ain't what y'all like. This is the illusion. We're going to manipulate your understanding. Fuck that. We're going to talk about other shit. We're not going to talk about what's really causing this shit right now. Give it 100 years. When they can talk about it, when all the people are dead who you can't, if you or a loved one receive the vaccination from, that's the only reason why I'm mad I ain't take the vaccination shot. Because I know in 15, 20 years, they're going to say, did you or deceased loved one? You know what? I did have a deceased. I ain't gonna say I did. I may have some deceased loved ones who died because of the vaccine. And if I do, I'm calling that number. I'm calling that number. You may be entitled to compensation. Yes, we're gonna be entitled to compensation. But then again, not because it was an emergency use. They authorize it for emergency use only. So that's gonna be one of the scapegoats as to why it doesn't work. But that's illusion, yo. These motherfuckers want to continue to create illusions for you, and they do it spiritually, they do it mentally, they do it physically. And then it's like you think that everything that is like, and that's one of the hardest parts about seeing through an illusion. Like, a lot of motherfuckers be like, the government wouldn't do that, whatever. That's the power of an illusion. That's the power of an illusion. You're not supposed to know it's an illusion. It looks like the truth. It has exact proponents of a truth because it is relative. Truth is relative. I'm just manipulating my understanding of the truth to give you a different understanding of the truth, because you don't have either understanding of the truth that I'm speaking about. And because you don't, my illusion is able to reign supreme, and your illusion is not able to reign in any world. Therefore, your reality doesn't change because my illusion now becomes your reality, and you do what the fuck I tell you to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it, and to what extent to do that shit. And don't forget to check out Polycafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Polycafe Clothing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Welcome back, y'all. We in season 9. We in episode 2. I told y'all, like, since season 8, I told y'all I was open differently, yo. It's different. Like, there's gonna be a lot. And I know this episode I said was probably gonna be on choices, options, and decisions and shit. But that was last week when I said that during that last episode, but then it's like not even last week, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Like, these are recorded early. But in the moment when I be wanting to talk about it, I be wanting to talk about it. And then it's like when the time comes, it's like, yo, life changes and certain things happen. So this was the episode that we ended up on. Hopefully I still talk about choices, options, and decisions, but we'll see. Because a lot of new information is coming out. But yeah, that's illusion. When we talk about the brow chakra, everybody, oh, illusions. I unblock my chakra by dealing with illusions. Do you really know what an illusion is? Do you know what illusions are being played on you? Do you know the levels of the mind to even be able to avoid an illusion? A lot of people don't. And this is not something that just comes into your life. You're not born knowing this shit. You're born open, but you have to become aware of the things that give you understanding. You have to become aware of the things that make you believe. Then you have to become aware of the illusions. Being aware of illusion is very, very powerful, yo. It keeps you from being manipulated. Like, it's one thing to manipulate someone's ignorance. You can clearly, I didn't know. The motherfucker played me. But when you knew, you understood, you've experienced, and the motherfucker still was able to manipulate you, that's a different world, because that fucks with you differently. Because you're like, it ain't like you lied to me. It ain't like you deceived me. You told me the truth a different way. An illusion is hearing a truth a different way. But it becomes bad because it's hearing a truth a different way and using it to exploit something. I'm exploiting the fact that you're hearing this truth a different way and you never heard the truth this way. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I'm big on making sure you have an antithesis to something, because that is a precursor for understanding. When you understand the antithesis of something, that sets your way up for being prepared to always see the other side. Even when you have a relative truth, that it's like, yo, I've never heard that truth before, but there is some truth to it. Let me see that there's another side to that truth. Then you can't manipulate me with it. You feel what I'm saying? When it comes to religion, people, you can't manipulate me with a religion. You can't convince me that I'm going to hell. You can't convince me that I'm living wrong for not following it. You can't convince me that I'm like, there's nothing you can convince me of, because I have understanding of the very thing that you're trying to pass the illusion on about. Like, I don't argue with no motherfucking body who's never read the book. I don't argue with anybody who hasn't even broken down the language yet. I don't argue with anybody who doesn't even know the Hebrew alphabet. Like, no, fuck you. You are very illusion based. You think you know, but you don't. You just believe and trust. So everything that they give you is like, and the thing about an illusion is that it has the capacity to stir something up in you that ain't supposed to be there, because it is an illusion. Now, here's the thing about illusion. I should have said this in the beginning, but oh well. Illusion derives from the same words as illustration. It derives from the same structure as illuminate. It involves vision. It involves sight. It involves being able to see. An illusion, this is why they say it blocks your third eye, because your third eye is not just your third eye, it's your inner being. You feel what I'm saying? It's your inner eye, your ability to see, feel. Your third eye technically is your third senses, the third level of your senses. So you have an inner eye, you have an inner ear, you have an inner smell, you have an inner, like, clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient. These are all a part of your third eye connections. You dig what I'm saying? But a lot of people have that illusion to where they think that, one of the biggest pieces of reality is ego and narcissism. When you create status under the guise of ego, you create narcissism. Everybody's a narcissist. Some people are good, some people are bad, but everybody has narcissistic tendencies because we're in a narcissistic society that works this way. You feel what I'm saying? But the illusion is that there's nothing wrong with you. Like, it's motherfuckers right now that, because they're American, like they couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag, but they were talking about going to war because they had people. The illusion is that you're protected. How are you protected if you can't protect yourself? Think about that.
Like, I know people right now that, grew up religiously that, thou shalt not kill. They won't get guns in their house. They won't use guns. They think, oh, I just call the police if somebody break. Like, no, police respond to crime. They don't solve it. They don't prevent it. They respond to it. So you might have to put that motherfucker down, but a lot of people don't want to do because thou shalt not kill. 42 laws of mine says, I have not acted unjustly. Did I kill a nigga? Yeah. Did I kill a motherfucker? Yeah. Why? Because they needed to be killed. That's a little morbid, but you feel me? I'm speaking in the context of what it is. Like, so when you are breaking that down to where you can control this perspective, you can control the illusion that you want somebody to have. There's people that are for, there's people that is not. When you understand illusion, this is how you pick sides. This is how when you form the illusion, you make sides for people to pick. Are you Democrat? Like, when people be like left wing, right wing, I'm like, yo, it's the same bird, bro. Like, I don't. You feel me? The illusion is that you worried about a wing. The left people, they're conservative, and right people are liberal, or vice versa. I don't fucking know, but y'all flapping with the same bird. It's gonna stay in flight because both of the wings are flapping simultaneously, even when the other wing doesn't look like it's flapping. We think because when the Democrats are in power, the Republicans aren't doing shit. The fuck they do? Sit out for a whole year? No, nigga. They still got people they got to represent that elected them. You feel what I'm saying? The illusion is that the bird isn't still flying when one wing is shown flapping. It's wild, because that's how illusion works. You dig what I'm saying? That's how illusion fucking works. Illusion has you, it manipulates your understanding. So now you pick a side based off what you think you understand. Nah, it's what you trusted in me. So my illusion now drops down to the level of a lie. Now I keep you at your, I'm gonna keep you in a state of survival at your root chakra energy, because the illusion is that deep. The most you're gonna want to do is survive. Wake up, set your alarm, go to work, come back, vote for me, spend this holiday, do this. Like, I'm gonna control everything with this illusion. And when you try to identify the illusion because you don't know who's creating the illusion, all you can do is say they. They did this. They're doing this. And then when people ask you who is they, you can't answer who. So therefore, you can't overcome the illusion. You're just a conspiracy theorist. When you can't answer who the they is, you're a conspiracy theorist. Right? You feel me? But when you start putting the they to it, now you're fake woke. It's a lot of combatants that overcome illusion. Illusion is a powerful thing. Because the only illusion sits at the third. The only chakra above that is the crown chakra. That's Mashiach energy. That's when you reach Christ consciousness. You cannot reach Christ consciousness until you are able to understand illusion. Because what blocks the crown is earthly attachment. You feel me? Earthly attachment. Now, when you are stuck under the illusion, which means that your understanding has been manipulated, what you're connected to is really an attachment. Therefore, it's hard for you to dissociate from it, because the illusion has made you bind yourself to it. You dig what I'm saying? This is where you get attachment versus connection. See, what a connection is like, when it served its purpose, I can go. But with an attachment, I have to stay bound to it forever. And that's an illusion in itself. So when people say, like, I've had people who have read Sophia 3 or whatever, and they talk about the Mashiach energy, it's you got to be really ready to face your illusions. The things that are manipulating your understanding of life, in order to not be connected to certain things. One of the things that got me, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. One of the things that really helped me the most, one of the biggest illusions that I faced growing up, and I think a lot of us in the culture, we face this, is that still insert title, whether that be your parent, your grandparent, sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, whatever. That's an illusion, right? Because the title is designed to erase the bullshit of the person. One thing that I had to come to terms with is that as children, what we speak out against our parents, the elders and shit, it's not their title that we're speaking against. It's them as a person. But they only hear that you're attacking my title, because this is the only way we're supposed to connect. Nobody will ever say that's still your nephew, that's still your niece. You feel me? But it's always that's still your aunt, that's still your uncle, that's still your grandparent or whatever. That's not, you know what I mean? Because the illusion is so rooted there that it's like my title. Forget whatever else I did in life. The title of parent is numero uno. It erases the title of parent, the title of friend, the title of brother, sibling, girlfriend, relation. It supersedes the fact that we don't know each other. So no matter what I do, it's like, yo, I'm your girl. I'm your man. I do this. Like when people say, yo, you just gonna throw away 10 years of relationship. Yep. Yep. Because the illusion is done. The illusion is done. I see the person, not the title. I seen this post that asked, they asked the question, why does it hurt more to end with a friendship? Why does a friendship breakup hurt more than a relationship breakup? I said, because the relationship breakup, we wear masks the whole time. Friends don't wear masks, right? The relationship, you wear a mask the whole time because you behave a certain way to make this motherfucker like you and keep liking you. Your friend, you don't give a fuck whether they like you or not because you're going to be yourself. So when that betrayal hits, I knew who you were. There was no illusion. I seen exactly what I was dealing with. But with the relationship, it's like, you just like the rest of them because of the box in which you had to be in. So when we get caught up in titles are the biggest ways in which our illusions stay predicated, because we don't look at somebody that could be wrong, right? Because of the title. You know how much of our life has been fucked up because we followed the advice of a motherfucker because of their title and they were wrong the whole time. When I got older, in my most recent years, I started to realize people are people. And just because of their title, I should not hold them to a certain standard. Or because of the title they don't have, I should assume they don't have a certain standard. So when I learned to see people as people, that's one of the first ways in which illusions shattered for me. Because it's like, oh, you're not a teacher, you're this. You're not the professor, you're this. You don't know. Coming to terms with the reality that fuck the title, this person may not know, will really start to make you see, oh, if you don't know, and I'm trusting you, that means I am walking into an illusion. Because I am trusting that you understand what we're talking about. And the fact that they don't know means that they have to now manipulate the understanding in order for it to come off true. Which means they create an illusion. This is why truth is relative. This is why illusions are so easy to come by, because illusions are not like lies. Illusions have truths in them. That's why it's hard to see through them. Like when people ask me about religion and like, why do you, because religion has some truth to it. Like there's some shit that makes sense in the book. I can't argue with that. I can't tell people just I gave it away, so fuck everything in it. Nah, certain shit like test everything, show yourself approved. Let the fruit be thy meat. In the beginning, God was the word was God, and the word was with God. Like those important pieces when you understand the full totality of everything that is going on. You can't pick and choose when you're going to use it, because that's when the illusion comes in, because now I'm only going to cater to the demographic that supports this particular reality. And then I'm going to make sure that this is why I tell people, are you gaining knowledge or reaffirming belief? Now, when you're reaffirming belief, you're catering to the illusion that is placed upon you. You'll never get out. It's one of the reasons why poverty doesn't work. It's why people can't get out of poverty, because it is the illusion that they're supposed to be there. There's almost a direct correlation between most people that are heavily in poverty and people that are heavily religious. People that are semi-religious, you feel me? They learn how to use it for the positive and shit. They, become, but a lot of wealthy people don't follow religion. Makes sense, because the illusion of religion teaches subservience. Wealthy people can't be subservient. You have to make people subservient to you if you want to be wealthy. Now, how you make them subservient is different, but you have to make them subservient to you if you want them to be wealthy, based off of the location of where you are in time. You feel what I'm saying? So these are the things that I want us as people to really work on more. The illusion of life. The illusion of life is that death is the end. The illusion of life is that death is real. After death, you start over. After death, that's it. There's nothing more. But then again, it's like people are afraid to live because of the illusion of, people are going to think this, like, did you know 99.82% of the people that you thinking about you ain't thinking about you? If you worried about what another motherfucker is going to think, and this is This was something that came up to me when I was like, I think I had to be in high school. So I was sitting down, it's like real revelation. Person came up to me. I was like, yo, bro, why you don't do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. He's like, cuz man, people gonna think something of me and shit. People gonna think. And I thought about it. I said, I don't even think that of you. I'm actually trying to figure out why you're not doing it. And it's like, what we think other people think about us is not what other people are thinking about us. That's an illusion because it is a relative truth. Because if you're basing, because a lot of times we amplify small negative things and we dilute big things. So you can have a slew of compliments and get one negative critique, and you only focus on the critique, and you'll change an entire reality based off the critique. That's the illusion. Instead of amplifying the reality based off the wins. Like, it's crazy because it worked out in the long run, but when inflation community developed the way it developed, all of these things because one person, I had a bad experience with one person on a one-on-one. The good experiences ultimately showed me that this was doable, but the bad experience made me change so much that I perfected a lot. But at the end of the day, it's like everybody doesn't have that same experience with you. And my thing was, I don't want to create an illusion. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I didn't want to create an illusion. Right. But in this world, you have to learn how to create illusions and avoid creating them. But then know when an illusion is being created on you. Because like I said, an illusion is a relative truth. It's real. It's honest. But it's relative to the experiencer based off of their understanding. You have to get to new levels of understanding in order to avoid the illusions that are being placed on you. When they say get woke, this is what it is like, but you just can't study history. You got to go into science. You got to go into mathematics. You got to go into history. You got to go into language. You got to go into the different things that your mind exposes itself to. And that's how you overcome illusion. That's how you keep your third eye open. And when you're able to keep your third eye open, that's how you're able to move into your Mashiach energy. Right? But all of that is in Soul 3. You can check that out if you want to see the actual process because I laid it out. But that's all I got for y'all. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And for our kids, illusion is easy to be bestowed upon them because they're impressionable. Illusion works because people are impressionable. Like when we look at children, like when did we ever become an adult? Nobody really knows this question. Like we've been because you're a child longer than you are letting on. We think we stop becoming children at age 18. Some of us, even when we cross the teenage line, we don't stop becoming a child until we're 28 years old, 28, 29 years old when we finish our first cycle of life and go into our second one. Right. So that childhood impressionable side is what life is like. We have to overcome that and learn how not to be caught up by impressionable shit. So when it comes to our children, we have to always constantly teach them that life is an ongoing thing that is based off of understanding. We have to show them that they need their own understanding, how to obtain their own understanding, and how to measure their understanding against someone else's. If someone else is putting an understanding on them that they don't have, that means that they have to learn how to understand it and just can't blindly trust it because an illusion gets created. Once that illusion gets created, your world becomes manipulated. The more events and the more people you can tie to this illusion, the more the illusion seems like the truth. Why? Because it is a truth. It is a relative truth, but it is not a truth to the experience that is allowing things to work. This is why when people say, how come the world did like the people, because they're not lying. They are not lying. They're just telling a different truth, a relative truth that makes it work, that makes it new. So when the fact checkers like, I just got a post. I made a post and a fact about the Damian Hill guy who wasn't hooked up to any heart monitors, who literally just collapsed on the field and had to, you know what I'm saying? Because he got vaccinated or whatever the case may be, collapsed on the field. And it's like, okay, they're like, he's not hooked to any heart monitors. The fact checkers came back and said, what they say was, you can be hooked up to the heart monitor. That not being hooked up, the fact check was not being hooked up to the monitor does not count, does not affect anything. I said, that's not even what this was about. This was about whether or not this vaccine is causing heart attacks. So the fact checkers will respond to a relative truth that makes it seem like it's. So when you see fact checking, you see this, like, that's not even what the fuck I was talking about. So I don't care what your facts say. Because a fact is a bit of information. Now, when we tie that to an illusion, you're using information to justify it, stand on a point. That doesn't necessarily make the point right or wrong. It makes what you're saying a fact that is a limited fact in the grand scheme of what you're saying. So let's make sure our babies are able to identify one fact from fiction, but to know that another person's facts are not more important than their own facts, and another person's understanding of those facts are not their understanding. Even if we're parents, we're their nephews, we're their uncles, aunts, parents, grandparents, it doesn't matter. We have to continue to allow them to keep their minds open, because we're going to need their minds to push our lineages forward, right? So we have to teach them how to take understanding as a grain of salt as somebody else's understanding, and see, why do you understand that? And then have their own understanding, and then make their own comparison, so that way illusions can be easily shattered. I don't succumb to illusions anymore like that, because I understand what an illusion is. Does that mean an illusion can't be put on me? No, because a motherfucker can have understanding that I don't have. But this is why I always say knowledge is power, and he or she who has more knowledge than you has more powers than you. I may be able to say I don't know the first time we talk, but it's not going to happen again the second time. And then you're not going to be able to play that role against me. You feel me? I was talking to a woman one time who we were dealing with. I didn't know the astrology the way she did. Once I knew the astrology the way she did, once I knew the astrology better, I realized she didn't know it the way she said she did. Change the illusion, because now she can't talk astrology shit to me no more, because I know it too. You feel me? You can't talk the shit about me. You can't talk shit to me that I once didn't know that I know now, because now our times have changed, because the illusion is gone. Now you're just dealing with the connection. How, and this is Masiak energy, how well we connect to this particular topic. Can we or not? You feel me? And that's what we need to make sure our babies are open to, and our babies are able to seek understanding without understanding being imposed upon them. The first place they're going to learn that is home. Because I said so doesn't suffice. Give them the answer. Well, I know you don't have patience. I know you just got all work. I know you're tired, but you got to deal with that. Like, you asked for it. You asked for this life. Deal with it. You feel me? Make sure that your kids are able to do that too. But that's all I got for y'all. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'll see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.